Hey, Entre Fam. This is Young, and this is video 57, I think. Yeah, 57 of 90. Um, had a pretty normal day. Normal as in working late again. Right now it's about 10:20. So not as late as other times, but still working late. But yeah. Because I was so tired yesterday, I think I slept longer or later than I planned to. I was still a bit tired this morning, and I wasn't still 100% myself. But as the day progressed, I kind of got back kind of into my normal energy level and mood, things like that. So, yeah, I was able, because I woke up late, I uh, had to do my workout during lunchtime. So, yep. I mean, it was so. Other than that, it was a pretty normal day. Yeah, and oh, I almost forgot today's shirt. It says fantasy football legend. And the reason I have this shirt is because I actually bought it for myself just as a joke to my friends because we used to do a fantasy football league with a bunch of my friends, and um, I was the only one to have ever won three times in like the 6 years that we played together, and so you know, as they say, dynasty, right? So that's why I got this shirt. So fun little fact. But yeah, I football's like my favorite sport. I love playing it. I love watching it. Although I don't watch it too often anymore, as I have a baby. And also, you got to get like all those premium channels and things just to watch sports nowadays. So, um, yeah. So, but yeah, football is definitely my sport. Let's see. And I actually played defensive tackle um, in high school. It's when I was a lot more fit and energetic. Um, but yeah, uh, and I mentioned in the comment section of that video with Jordan, the interview for his interview, that he mentioned that he did football and shot put, discus and things like that. And then those were actually the things I did too, shot put and discus as well. So, and those were fun. But anyways, on to my through line challenge. So basically, the next significant memory is in the first year of high school. So the previous one was like seventh, eighth grade, where we lived in that basement of a uh, of a family friend, and then we moved to. I think our financial situation got a little better. Not totally solved, but a little bit better. Um, so we moved, and then we moved again. So I went to high school, and now I'm in high school, ninth grade. And, entering in, I really wanted to play football. And, I even called, the school by myself, in advance because I wanted to play football. And, they got me in touch with the coach, and, he asked me questions like, oh, how tall are you? How much you weigh? And as a freshman, I was like 5'8", 180 pounds, um, which I think is big. Didn't seem big to me, of course, because I felt like just a normal guy. But apparently, I think it was pretty big because looking back now at some of these high school kids, they're like really small and scrawny. But um, like the freshmen, anyways. But yeah, I went in, and when I was on the phone with the coach and stuff, and he was pretty excited because I guess because I was such a big guy, or decently big guy. I wasn't like the biggest kid, but yeah. So I was super excited. Got in there, got to play some football. And in high school, that's when you kind of get in all sorts of trouble and things like that. I mean, I didn't really get into it that big of a trouble or anything like that. So, but that's when girls kind of become a whole thing. I mean, I started liking girls like more in the middle school, things like that. But um, it got a lot bigger. So in high school, so all that stuff going on. When you're growing, when you're growing up, all your hormones are raging and things like that. So always wanting, always chasing after girls, and boys having all that testosterone, also doing dumb things like, you know, in football they're willing to just bash their bodies into anything, just to like prove a point. So, but yeah, it was kind of all that type of situation. But uh, that isn't really the whole that isn't really the memory that I was that I'm trying to get to. It's a little less exciting, I guess. But that's when I actually so the memory is kind of more like along a 2 year term, um, and of high school, and it was when I first met my friend John, who actually became my best friend, and he was also my best friend, or my best man at my wedding. So freshman year, I didn't actually really know him. I just met him through one of my other friends that was a fellow football player. John, my friend John, didn't play football, but we were. I met him in freshman year, but I didn't really get to know him until sophomore year. Um, but the whole high school for me, even though I did play football, people usually think people who the guys that play football are like jocks and they're like out there like you know causing a ruckus and things like that. But that wasn't really me. I was always a pretty chill guy, and you know really an introvert, especially after all the stuff that happened with my family, with the divorce and all of that stuff. So I became a little bit more withdrawn. But I did really like football, so I wanted to play. But I was really a loner in a sense. I tried to participate, whenever I could and things like that as much as I could. But I never really fit into that whole football jock kind of group of people. There were some people I kind of meshed with in football, but they were kind of, they had some things in common with me. They were kind of nerdy, things like that. They liked kind of like that kind of like nerdy stuff and as well. But they were also into football and sports. So those are the kind of people I meshed more with. But yeah, I was pretty. Other than that, I was pretty kind of withdrawn. I kind of kept to myself. Never really talked to anybody in my classes. For almost the entirety of my high school, my high school, my time in high school, I would basically go to class. People chill, talk in hallways, in between classes, things like that. But me, I went straight to class, sat down, just waited for class to start or did some work or something like that, and paid attention in class. When there was extra time in class, I would just immediately start homework. The reason being is because if I went home, I wanted to do whatever I wanted, so I started homework at school. Sometimes finished it, things like that. So I really kept my head down. As soon as the bell rang, off to the next class. Maybe stop by the locker, pick some stuff up, but usually I didn't even do that because I had carried all my bags in my backpack, for the day, because I just didn't feel like going to the locker. I didn't see the point, especially since I didn't really have too many friends, things like that. So, but cut to sophomore year, I decided not to play football because I actually made it into my the symphonic band in my school, playing tuba. Yeah, I actually started playing tuba back in middle school. I didn't mention that, but I started playing tuba, and I was actually pretty good at it. My I actually started playing tuba in middle school because I just joined band, extracurricular activities. Wasn't particularly interested or anything, but got to do something. And then my band teacher actually, in middle school, who was amazing, by the way. She just basically, she was like, "What do you want to play?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm just kind of here." And she was like, "Okay, well, we don't have any tubas, so why don't you play tuba?" So that's how I started playing tuba. So, but I actually got pretty good at it, and I made it to symphonic band, which is the highest band in my school in our high school. And when you're in the highest band, you have to do marching band, and of course the marching band plays in football games. So I was unable to, and they had practice after school. So I wasn't able to play football because of that, and I figured academic stuff made more sense to do rather than sports, things like that. So, because I never thought I would ever become like a pro football player or anything like that. I loved it, but I wasn't that good. So, anyways, yep. In sophomore year, I didn't play football, but I was a little bit more withdrawn. Didn't really have too many friends. I had a couple here and there, but they weren't like super duper close friends or anything like that. But it was actually by chance that I was in the same gym class as my friend John, who I had met just one time the year before, and he actually came up to me and he was like, "Hey, aren't you?" Our mutual friend was Rob, and he was like, "Aren't you Rob's friend?" and stuff like that. And we started talking, and then we saw that we had a lot in common, and we started hanging out a lot more. And it's funny because whenever he tells that story, he always says that he almost never approached me because I looked very angry and very scary because I was basically sitting on the bleachers in gym by myself, sitting like this, with this facial expression, and I had like a hoodie on. And so he said he almost didn't even approach me because he was like, "Dude, you look mad and scary." So, and I wasn't trying to look like that. I was just, my face was just resting, and I was just not. I was just bored, not having fun, just sitting in gym class, just on the bleachers. So, that's why. But I'm glad he did, and we got to really click, and I really became kind of like a part of his family. So yeah, it was really awesome. We're still great friends, awesome friends. He lives in another state than I do now, so we see less of each other. But of course, we'll always be best friends. He was my best man. So yeah. So that was kind of my memory. Next memory that was significant because I was able to find my best friend within just couple within with the 2 years, the first 2 years where I was kind of not really enjoying high school too much, just by myself, withdrawn and things like that. So, and his family really took me into. He's actually half Samoan and half Caucasian. So, but yeah, his family kind of took me in. Kind of like, and God bless me with just another family like the family I spoke about before. They took me in like part of their family as well, and I'm also still good friends with them too. Again, those people also live in a different state, Texas, so we don't see much of each other, but I'll always consider them family. And my best friend's family also, we all each consider each other family as well. So yeah, that's another example of where it's really shown me how families can be, and how families are, and why I fight so, strongly for families. So this video is about 14 minutes long, so I'm going to stop here. But yeah, apologies again for all my long videos. But again, I will see you in the next one. Stay awesome, Mantra.